So why can you only breathe out of one nostril at a time? Well, first I want you to take your finger, put it underneath your nose, and breathe out. Do you feel pressure on both sides? Do you feel air coming out on both sides? Roughly 85% of people only breathe out of one nostril at a time, and it actually comes and goes in intervals. So you can breathe out of one nostril at a time, and then roughly 4 hours later, you breathe out of the other nostril. It is kind of weird, but here's how it works. A German scientist who was actually a nose specialist in 1895 called Richard Kaiser actually did a study on the nose cycle. The study concluded that there's erectile tissue inside of your nose, and one nostril will be inflamed or kind of flare up on one side, and then the other side will shrink, allowing you to breathe out of that certain nostril. What's even more interesting is that at any given moment, whatever nostril you're breathing out of predominantly affects your brain and your body. Another example performed from a study in 1988 actually determined that breathing out of your right nostril can increase your glucose levels, while breathing out of your left can actually decrease them. This caused them to believe that if you breathe through a long cycle of one period of your right nostril or your left nostril, they concluded it may actually be a contributing factor to certain types of diabetes. And I think most interesting of all, a study performed in 1994 concluded that when you breathe out of your left side of your nostril, your right side of your brain is actually more active, and then when you breathe out of the right side of your nostril, your left side of the brain is more active. Although we don't know everything about the nose cycle and why you breathe out of one nostril at a time, it's thought to be due to your autonomic nervous system, which is controlled by your sympathetic nervous system. And from the minor studies we have done over the past couple of years, it determined that actually your nasal cycle gets weaker as you get older. It also determined that when you roll on one side of your body while you're sleeping, the other nose actually switches over even if your cycle isn't completely done yet. So if I roll on my left side will actually become inflamed and I'll start to breathe on my right side. Some scientists believe that actually the alternating nasal cavities being able to breathe out of them actually helps control the moisture in it so one nostril doesn't get super dried out. They also believe it may protect against respiratory symptoms and viruses. So if you breathe out of one nostril at a time, it's actually not really dangerous for you, and people tend to notice it actually when they're sick and congested, because most people tend to get congested on one side more than the other, but not really both at the same time. There's no easy answer to why this happens, because it changes with people who are left-handed versus right-handed, it changes between men and women, it changes between kids and adults and the elderly, because it varies a lot between every single person. It's so hard to justify the reasoning for everybody, because you can't make a case for one small person and use it as the whole group. So that's pretty much it. That's a weird reason why you can only breathe out of one nostril at a time, and the majority of people actually can't breathe out of both at the same time. If you do want to try it, take your finger, breathe out, see what nostril is breathing out air, and then you'll know, and a couple of hours later you can try it again, and it's very common that the other nostril would be breathing in that case. So thank you all so much for watching. If you did enjoy, drop a like, drop a subscription. Let me know if you want to see any more of these breaking down kind of what happens with your body, and I will see you all next time. Peace.